Okay.
Whenever you want.
Okay. Okay, first question, please introduce yourself. Who are you and how long are you playing Quakeworld?
How long I've been playing?
Yeah.
First of all, my name is Jonas Frejd.
Yeah.
My handle is LethalWiz. I've been playing Quake on and off from '96. I started playing in late '96 and then I stopped playing Quake in '99 and took it up again in 2006. So the last sequence has been like almost 6 years now.
Okay. And what's your favorite map? And what's your favorite weapon?
It depends on the game mode, but I'd say in Duel it's Airwalk. 4 and 4 I'd say it's E1M2. In 2 and 2 I'd say that would be probably Airwalk as well. My favorite weapon is the LG. Yeah.
Okay. And
What's no? Okay.
okay. And what's your division?
In 4 and 4 I recently, right now this EQL season I play in Division 2 with Sudden Death 2. I previously played in Division 1, but seeing my activity has been kind of low lately, I'd say Division 2 is pretty nice as it is. When it comes to Duel, I'm not really sure, but I'm pretty high up when it comes to Duel, but not really a top contender or anything. But yeah, so let's say high Div 2 maybe.
Okay. And can you tell me what is Quakeworld all about?
For me, well, for me it's a lot about friendship, hanging out with the friends. Most of the guys I'm sitting with are people that I've got to learn to know through Quakeworld during the last years on the Qhlans, but also we hang out a lot in Stockholm. We see each other and go out drinking beers and all that. And we hang out over TeamSpeak pretty much every night, and so I'd say Quakeworld is it's a whole lot about the friends that you get to learn during the game, and then the game in itself, of course. I think it's by far the best FPS game because of its, I'd say so, it's very pure. There's not that much of fancy graphics, of course, or you don't have to wait for a weapon reload or any of that crap. This is pure and it's fast and it's quite exciting. It takes a lot of aim and skill.
Okay. And how long do you play and how often?
As I said, this last year pretty much I haven't been that active, but so I'd say maybe 3 hours a week or something like that. But in past years I used to play a whole lot more, and then it was maybe 2-3 hours a night. So it varies a bit depending on the situation, if you have job and all that, and what else is going on in your life. But yeah.
Okay. And what do you need for playing Quakeworld? What kind of requirements? Not the hardware, like computer. It's like the human skills.
Skills, but
Well, I think anyone can play Quakeworld really, but if you mean to be really a top contender, I'd say it takes a whole lot of dedication, of course. And I think this is very true when it comes to Quakeworld, due to the fact that all the people that play right now have played for so long, so the skill level is just through the roof, which makes it really hard for someone new to come into the game and actually compete with the best players in just a year or so. You really need dedication. But apart from that, I think you should have some kind of talent when it comes to aim, for instance. If you have a good aim, you can go pretty far just on that fact. When it comes to, especially when it comes to Duel, I say. So mostly dedication, but also a bit of skill would be nice. Some talent.
Okay. And in what countries is Quakeworld popular and why?
Well, I think it's always been very popular in the Scandinavian countries, Sweden foremost, but also Finland. And I think that the representation today of players are mainly Swedish players, but all Swedish and Finnish players. Did you ask me why?
Yeah.
Oh, that question is kind of hard. But I know that we have a tradition, in at least in Sweden, to play FPS games like Counter-Strike, and we've done so for like, I mean, since the mid-90s pretty much. So we've been very active in the FPS scene, and when it comes to Quakeworld, I mean, it's just players that used to play Quakeworld and that still loves the game, that still clings to it. So I just think it happens to be that way just because we are an FPS loving country.
Okay. What makes this scene so special for you?
Well, I'd say it's mostly about just the fact, as I mentioned, that these guys still cling on to the game. I mean, most of us, if you look at this LAN, for instance, there's most of them are kids, you know. But when it comes to the Quakeworld section, pretty much most of them they were 25 to 30, you know. So what I think it's just the fact that there's so many old guys playing it, you know, which also makes it easier for us because we're grown up and we got to know each other pretty well. So, you know, we can hang out during the free times. You don't have to, it's not all about the game, pretty much. I think that's the main difference from other games.
Okay. And what was your most remarkable moment in Quakeworld history?
Oh, remarkable. For me as a player, or in general?
Both.
Well, I know that I was quite impressed with when I first started playing Quakeworld again. When I first started playing Quakeworld, I was a huge fan of players like Qhlan or Doomer and these guys, you know. So I remember my first LAN appearance at the tournament called, I think it was, Quake SM, which is like the regional finals in Sweden. And I get to play versus one of these seasoned players like Doomer and Totte, and I did pretty well. And I remember the fact that I was able to compete with them was huge for me back then. So I think that was probably my most special moment in Quakeworld history. Yeah.
Okay. And in general?
In general, I'd also say that it was back then when I know that a clan named Qhlan 9, which represented Sweden, played versus Death Row, which was the American counterpart. And there was a huge hype around this game. And when it all came down to it, I remember Qhlan 9 just demolished the American clan, which was pretty huge. I remember that very vividly. So that was a cool thing.
Okay. Cool.
You said that Aerowalk is your favorite map, as I remember.
Yeah.
Could you explain someone who doesn't ever entered Aerowalk as a player? What exactly is it all about? What is? Just explain it. What's the feeling in Aerowalk? And
yeah, I'd say the name of the map pretty much sums it up. It's a lot of arrow. No, just the fact that I think that what sets Aerowalk apart from a map like DM2, for instance, is that it's so fast-paced. It's all centered like this around this huge room that has a lot of levels, and which really makes it interesting for really cool fights where you come flying in with your shaft or your RL, fighting over the Mega, which is in the lower parts in the middle of the room, or fighting for the yellow armor or the red armor, which is to the side from that point. But I mean, it's a fast-paced map. You can move around it really quickly, and there's a lot of action going on. There's a lot of spawn fragging, which means that once you kill your opponent, you can spam the other spawns, and you usually get a couple of spawn frags from that. So it's a map where you reach high scores pretty frequently. Like you can win by 45 to 20, for instance, which, as I said, like in difference to DM2, which can be like a 1-0 win, pretty much, or I've seen a 0-1 win actually. So there's a lot of I mean, the maps are very different in that sense, and Airwalk is the most fast-paced, as I know it, and that's why I enjoy it.
Okay.
Sorry, I forgot what I want to say. It's about
the map.
Yeah, someone who played Quakeworld a few times always complain about only 2 weapons have really an impact, and the spawn frags. Yeah. What was your beginning when you started playing Quakeworld and saw that it was very hard to get into the game because you getting spawn fragged in the first 2 months about almost every time, and you never see any rocket launcher in the game when playing 4-on-4. What was your what kept you playing this game, and what would you say to newcomers what they have to watch to care when?
I think I know what you mean, and as I remember, I know that it was kind of tough to come back in 2006 and play the game where I used to be one of the best players in, or above the top contenders anyway, and that was back then in CTF, Capture the Flag. But you know, coming back in 2006 and getting just demolished by the low-skilled players in Quakeworld terms, was kind of tough. But so I decided to play the game mode that was most rewarding when it comes to frags, which is DMM4 maps like End or POV DMM4. I played a lot of POV DMM4 because there you really get to practice your aim, practice the weapons like RL and LG, foremost LG, without being, as I said, like you don't have to be outplay or rape or anything like that. You can lose by a pretty big margin, but you always get frags in that game mode, so it's kind of rewarding. And I think that new players that come to the game should try that too, at least in the beginning, because, as I said, it keeps you motivated to improve and get better. And as I mentioned earlier, it helps you bring out your aim as a skill, which really helps out a lot when it comes to turning modes later on, like 4-on-4, 2-on-2. 1-on-1 in particular.
Okay.
What was the? Repeat those.
What does the scene needs, and what is the biggest problem?
Problems, yeah. It needs more active people, active players, and people that wants to make the community grow. I mean, the Quakeworld scene has been in decline for as long as I know, and it still is. And I think it needs some new players that come to the game that want to, improve, and just like anyone else. So without a doubt, it's the activity. It's just been very low lately, and I think we need to give it a burst to bring in new players. And the Ignition tourney that I think they have sign-ups for it right now. I think it's a really good initiative. The last Ignition tourneys bring in like 30 or 40 or 50 new players that pretty much hadn't played Quake before, introduced them to the community. And I think more things like that, more incentives to play the game, that's just what needed. And the problem is pretty much the same thing. I mean, without the activity, the game is going to die sooner or later, right? So I think everyone needs to get their shit together and make a difference to the fact that to bring in new players to the game.
Okay.
Magical feature which I only see in Quakeworld, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I agree with that. And that's usually what I say to players that haven't played Quakeworld before. That, in my opinion, and a lot of other people's opinion too, Quakeworld is the most fast-paced FPS game that I know. As I said before, like you don't have the weapon switch; it's pretty much instant. But also this bunny hopping and the rocket launcher jumping and all that makes it so you can speed around the map in a huge pace, which gives extra dimension to the whole game mode. And I don't think you really can find it in any other game. I know that they have some of it in like games like Warsaw, and but it's not near just as fast as in Quakeworld. So I think that it really takes a long time to master the skill when it comes to, you know, just playing out killing people, but also doing it in a really fast-paced mode. And you should go watch players like Locktar or BPS when they play at their best on Airwalk or DM2, because that makes you realize that there's a whole lot left to learn, right? It doesn't matter if you play the game for 10 years, you can still improve. And this fast pace of the game mode makes it possible to increase that you can do this tiny little tweaks to make yourself go around the map faster, and then I mean, there's always something to learn in that game, and I don't really think you can find it in any other game in that sense, no. So I would say that that's what stands out most in Quakeworld.
Someone told me before in the interview that he's going to play Warcraft, World of Warcraft, and then he's switching back to Quakeworld. What are you playing? Any other games besides Quakeworld? And if yes, which one? And if yes, why are you coming always back to Quakeworld? And
I've been playing other games. I know that, as I said, I stopped playing Quakeworld in '99, and then started playing Quake 3. For a short period. I think it was 1 or 2 years. And then I hopped over to Counter-Strike, play Counter-Strike.
Cool.
And from then on, I started playing, oh my god, I played a lot of games. Yeah, and then I started playing World of Warcraft, for instance, which you mentioned. But that's just a totally different game. It's like you spend hours and hours and hours in that game. You really don't like raise your skill level. It's just your skill level on that guy running around there. You know, he has. I mean, so it's not. You can't compare it with Quake or Counter-Strike for that matter either. So for me, it was always been like obvious that I would come back to Quakeworld in some sense, and I think I'm gonna play Quakeworld as long as I live. But I might do it while playing other games as well. Like I know I play a little bit of StarCraft 2 right now, and that can be nice sometimes playing with my friends. So you don't have to always play one and only game, you know, but you can jump in between different games and so on. And that's what I've been doing ever since I started playing multiplayer games. I'm not that conservative in that regard, I think. I know that we used full bright skins very early, and I even remember we had some glowing skins. Those were banned later though, but Quakeworld, as I mentioned, is so pure, you know. It's all about speed and aim, that you don't have to have like camouflaged guys, you know, running around on the maps. That's just ridiculous, because it's all about the aim. So no, I say that's fine by me, as long as it doesn't alter the game too much, like wall hack, for instance. Or I remember there was this kind of wall hack mode for the water, that you took away all the textures of the water, so you could see the people when you shooting down through the water. And but that was removed, and they had timers and stuff for the counted down from when you took an item and such. But those are like self-explanatory that you don't want them in the game, because they make it too easy to play it. You know, you should still have some kind of skill of keeping track of when items spawn, or you, as I said, looking through walls isn't really. No. That's not really a skill, right? So no, I'm not a conservative in any way like that, as long as it doesn't alter the game too much.
Okay. The last question is, if you want to say something, then do it now. It can be a thanks, it can be an advice, it could be anything. Yeah. What have you anything on your heart that you want to shout out?
Well, there should be. We mentioned the problems of the Quakeworld community, and the fact that the activity is just too low at the moment. And so my message would be that all you players out there, even if you're not that active, try to at least make the effort to show up at the next QH LAN. So because the LAN is pretty much the focal point of the whole year for the activity, and I think that everyone should, at least the people that live pretty nearby. There's a lot of, I know there's a lot of players who lives here in Stockholm that doesn't even show up. So for next time, bring your asses over here, and we'll have a better Qhlan and a more active community. So that would be my advice, my shout out.